What's up, YouTube? I'm back. Today we are reacting to another Access Vegas with Roll Tomosity and Mike Sartain. Without further ado, guys, I don't want to waste much time, so let's get it started.
Women's concept of love is opportunistic. He's got to meet all these criteria. Sometimes that criteria changes the older you get. So a woman who's 23 years old is going to have a different, like the subjects, the things on the list don't change. Just the order of them changes as you, from 10 years from 23 to 33, let's say. So I mean, in my book, I'm known for this. So there's the whole phase, right? There's the 18 to 28-year-old version of you who dates the MMA fighter, right? The guy, the hot guy in the foam cannon party, the guy who's the fun, as Sheryl Sandberg said, the bad boys, the bad for you guys, the hustlers and Tinder swindler, date that guy, right? But then when you get to be right around 29, 30, 31, that's what I peg as the epiphany phase. And that's when women say, okay, I'm done with my journey of self-discovery. And now I want to settle down and find a guy who I'm really with me for the long term. And I want to fall in love and I want to be happy. And I have all in those criteria. Maybe it's not looks first. Looks is like second or third, but he's got to be dependable. He's got to be loyal. He's got to like, he's got to like dogs.
What is a phase? What quality?
Yeah, so I see his point. So like pretty much like when they're younger, all they care is about a guy's looking good. They don't care about the guy who's stable. That's why they'll date those bad boys who have no jobs, those couch surfers and what do they call them? They call them like couch hobos, something like that. Yeah, they'll date those people. But as they get older, to like 28, looking for like the most stable guy who has a job, a career, whatever. I guess.
Because I know a lot of women that are in very monogamous relationships never had a hoe phase.
18 to 28 years old.
But what qualifies it as a hoe phase? Because
it's let's be promiscuous.
So what does that actually look like? Like, what's the body count on that? Does that mean she sleeps with
what's the body count? The fact you have to ask that question is crazy to me.
Somebody on the first date?
Does
that mean like more than 6 a year, or
more
like
than 6?
She said more than 6 a year. That's the streets right there.
Well, okay, so I've done these shows with Myron and Fresh.
Because I'm just curious, like what actually is a hoe phase, and would the same rules apply to a guy?
Hell no.
All right, now stop.
Hell no,
That's
woman.
really
Hold on,
the question.
wait.
That's
That's not even a question.
Stop in your tracks right now.
That's not fair.
I'm gonna call out something you just
yeah,
did.
it's not fair.
And you've been doing this entire conversation. Every time we bring out a point about like for women, it's like, well, what about guys? Okay, stop. You need to dissociate yourself from like, okay, men and women are different.
Yeah.
So the idea that what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If there's like, if it's good for guys, it must be good for women. Throw that out of your mind right now, because men and women are biologically, physiologically, neurologically, psychologically different from one another. So there is this constant like, well, what about guys, right? Okay, well, that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about women at this.
Jamie, if you're asking, is it a double standard?
Yes.
There is.
Yeah.
There
Yes,
is.
it
And
is.
if you're asking if it's fair, it isn't.
Well, I just really wanted to get back. So okay, we'll focus on just the girls. Got it.
Hold on. Do you care? Hold on.
But I'm just saying.
Do
there needs
you
to be a
care how
separation.
many guys? This is a question we're going to ask for. Do you care how many girls a guy has slept with when you date them?
I used to when I was young.
Tiana said yes.
I mean, if they come out and say the number,
Jamie, I know you, and I know the answer to this. Do you really care how many girls a guy has slept with?
I mean, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So what's the number that's too high?
Yeah.
She's capping already.
I've never really thought about it, but like
Then
if
you
I
don't really care.
no, look, like I haven't thought about it, but look, just because I haven't thought about it doesn't mean it doesn't matter. Okay.
That's exactly what it means. If you haven't thought about it, then it's something that's not even in your forefront, like something that you don't really care about.
Okay? Like it matters. Like I'm answering your question honestly. If I didn't give a fuck, I would tell you. Okay. So yes, does it matter? Yeah. Is it super important to me? No, it's not super important to me, but
Then it doesn't matter. Like what are you trying to say?
like, do I want somebody to like have multiple sexual partners? Do I want to be at a party and know that you,
Oh, my God.
no, I don't want to deal with that. You know, I don't want to deal with that.
It's important to me because if I am going to settle down with someone, I don't want to, for the rest of my life, have to go out into the world and know you because I met you when you were around 30 other women. I kind of can foreshadow what may or may not happen. And just with my own,
so it's an embarrassment thing, but it's not an actual number that's bothers you. But what the guy lived in New York and now you live in Vegas, his body count is high, but none of the girls live in Vegas. Would that be a problem for you?
I don't think so.
Would it be a problem for you?
Now here in Vegas, yeah.
I guess
now,
where you
I'm going to ask the same.
So it's a status and a social aspect.
Let's have a hypothetical question. I have 3 dudes here, and then I ask them, do you think body count matters for a woman? What do you think they're going to say?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
I was told on a first date, don't tell me who you hooked up with.
It is a double standard, and it isn't fair.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I want to go back to the thing though, because I do, because look, I'm genuinely curious about it. Okay, because I hear that term a lot, but like, how do you actually define that?
He didn't come up with the term, and neither did I.
I called it party years.
I know some girls that like they don't sleep with a bunch of dudes, but man, they like a fucking ton of attention, and they'll go through this phase in their life where they're like they have a boyfriend and they're driving him crazy by making this dude jealous and this dude jealous. I've seen that happen also.
What I was going to say is like the span to 10-year span. This is how I classify it. So this is just my bonehead version of this. 18 to 28 years old. 23 is the age at which most men across the board find women they're at their most attractive, is between like 21 and 24 years old, right in there. So I peg it at right about 23. That is the prime age at which a woman has her peak sexual agency. Whether or not she is experiencing a phase or living it up in Cancun or having in the hookup culture in her college or something like that is immaterial to the phase itself being like, this is when you're going to be at your peak potential. Now, we just went through COVID, right? So what women are saying is like, well, here I am in the prime of my life and I just missed 2 years of I couldn't date anyone. We were locked down, and there, like, women have said this on like many a podcast right now, saying, I feel like I got gypped out of my youth because I could have had potential to go out and meet guys, because that's right when they're in their most marketable as far as the sexual market value is concerned. That's when they're at their peak potential. And so within that 10-year phase, whether or not they are, sleeping with 100 guys or, up in their body count or whatever, or they are promiscuous, the fact still remains that is that 10-year span right there is when women have their peak potential to lock down a guy who has the potential for long-term security.
By the way, when he's saying
I had to let him cook real quick. I don't know. I didn't want to pause that, but I get what you're trying to say. Like, it's not saying that every girl every girl is going to be a hoe, but they have the opportunity to become a hoe based on that time frame. That's what he's trying to say. That's why he's trying to say.
What he's saying, there's a book called Dataclysm where it goes over when most girls get their most right swipes, and it is between 23 and 25. It's not our opinion.
Yeah, between the ages, men between the ages of 15 and 90, they all rate women between the ages of like 21 to 24. I believe right around there as the most attractive.
And for men, it's like 38.
Well, for women, when they rate men who as being more attractive, it's always anywhere between 3 to 7 years older than they are at that particular time. So if a woman is 30, she's looking at a guy who's like anywhere between 33 and 37, something like that. So it's always staggers up, because I think on some level of consciousness, women realize that it takes longer for the man to develop and mature into his peak potential to have the most. He can be the full package, right? So he can still be good looking. He's got his money on point. He's got his physique on point. He's got his game on point. He's a better judge of character. He has some sort of status and affluence at that point. And so therefore, I think on some level, like when most women, when they're looking for a guy as a long-term, like a marriage or something like that, they're looking for a guy who's old, at the very least 3 to 7 years older than he is. So when we're talking about it's the 18 to 28-year-old span where women are at their peak potential to maximize, and that's where they can maximize their potential. So how they go about doing that, you can have some very religious girl who's never had like a quote-unquote phase, and she might have like maybe a 2 or 3 body count, and then you got the other girls on Fresh and Fit who at like 19 have something like 15 or 20 body count already at that point.
What could you buy with your body count? You remember that episode?
Exactly.
This girl was like, I could buy a fucking Birkin. I was like, what the?
So,
you can buy a Birkin?
And then you also have to throw in variables as well, because
perhaps a Juicy Couture.
Because
what could you buy with your body count? Girl fucking around said, I want a Happy Meal. A what? A Happy Meal?
Most women, like, remember, as I just said, 75% of the population is overweight. So that doesn't mean that every single woman is having the same kind of as somebody who is like
it's
exceptionally
just their
attractive.
Well, that's why I wanted that.
Contextual.
Most people, when they hear hoe phase, are going to be like, oh, she's a hoe. she fucks everybody, and she's like 10 plus, I would say.
So let me ask you a question. So I think this is the real discernment. Men will then judge a woman by how many men she slept with.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So really, that's the only point.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
That's
enough.
the only
fair
real
enough.
point of this.
Fair enough.
So looks is always going to be at the close to the top of the list, but as women's sexual market value decays and it is perishable, when women get to 29, 30, 31 years old, that's
perishable.
That's what. Well, more.
Yeah, perishable. Yes, women are not beautiful till the day they die. I don't know who's telling you these fairy tales, but it is perishable.
Again, I'm using that contextually because people will say, "Oh, are you talking about the wall, Rolo?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not talking. The wall starts here for women.
I would love for the three of you guys to read this book.
It doesn't start here for women." Is the body count double standard really unfair if a high body count truly ruins women for an LTR, a long-term relationship?
If a woman is negatively impacted, like physically, if she has a high body count, is he saying like
there are studies that would show that this, by the way, same for men and women, the higher the body count you are, the less likely you are to maintain a monogamous relationship or a long-term relationship.
I don't think that's true.
Why?
You don't think it's true?
If they have a high body count, it's less like, oh, wait, let me reel that back in. Hold on. I just went forward a little bit. Okay. I can see how that could be true, actually. Yeah.
Should a woman's sexual past matter to a guy?
Should it matter? Why would it matter?
Yeah.
Oh, it definitely
for exactly
definitely
what we just said.
Should a whole face matter? We were
what if we never
face.
told you?
Right. So I mean,
you never do anyways.
There you go.
Yeah.
Stars are getting married, so I mean.
Again, so these are specific men that have decided to look past that number.
Sure. Okay.
I don't think so. I don't.
It shouldn't matter.
I don't think so. No, I don't think that it should matter. I think so. That I think you want to because
these people want no kind of accountability. They just want to live a reckless life and not care about what happens. Like there's gonna be I can't say that word. Forget about it. There's gonna be issues when it comes to these things. Like, come on.
Behavior can change.
Sure.
And so you wouldn't want to completely disqualify somebody if perhaps they've been a certain way in the past and then made a change. That can happen.
Here they come.
Yeah.
Here they come.
Yeah, well,
All right, guys, this is it for today. I had to, whenever I react to Rolo, I gotta let him cook because whenever he tries to make a point, Rolo tends to go on and on. So I don't want to interrupt the content by giving my 2 cents. But pretty much this is it. Today's video was pretty much me just chilling and letting Rolo cook. Please give me a like, subscribe, comment. I appreciate the love and support. You too. Till next time.